Hey. How we doing today? Good? So my name is Johan. I'm the CMO of Camphouse. And we help enterprise brands orchestrate their campaign execution through one simple system, right? And we've all been told that AI will change marketing forever, and I'm super sure it will. I think in the short term, maybe not in the way that most people think. So for the next 15 minutes, I want to talk about the biggest mistake we see that companies are doing when entering the AI space within marketing. And it starts with a very, very basic and simple question, but it kind of resonates. Anyway, so what's the ROI of an ad, even an award-winning ad, that no one sees? Right? Think about it for a while. Think about your last campaign. How much energy did you spend on creating the creatives and making sure you had the idea right? And how much of that did you actually spend on the execution strategy? Right? In today's world, we're super obsessed with creating the number of content pieces we need, and we can do it faster, cheaper, better, smoother, right? But here's kind of like the uncomfortable truth that we're dealing with right now. We have entered the golden era of content creation. We know that already, so that's super fine. But still, many of us are running our campaigns using outdated systems and platforms. And that gap, the gap between the creative excellence on one side, if you will, and then the actual systems and platforms on the other, that's where we lose most of the performance. And yes, thanks to AI, we can now generate 100 ad variations, personalized copy for every persona, and we can do it in sort of real time, right? Fantastic, for sure. But also, whoa. I think we've all been in that meeting when somebody says, hey, let's create 40 versions for A/B testing. Let's make sure we have everything we need now. And AI makes that a breeze. And in the moment, it feels like progress, it feels like innovation. But to be honest, how many times have you run campaigns where the last iteration of ads really, really moved the business needle? And how many times, in the end, it just added stress to the marketing team? Hands up. How many times do you have too many ads for every campaign? Let's show of hands. No one? Oh, it's a few. Cool. Thank you. So back again then. AI makes content easy, which is fine. But now orchestration is the hard part. Because we've never had more firepower enough to create anything we ever wished for. But that creative rush has created we're kind of missing a sort of critical thing here. First, I just needed to show these two pics, right? I love the energy in the banana, and those eyes scares the living hell out of me. But back to it again, right? With the right creative, it doesn't really matter if we have that in place, if we can't show the right message at the right time with the right result, right? And if we do that, it's just noise. And when you apply AI on it, and you add the creativity that AI can enhance it, we only scale faster. And we sort of create the illusion of more content that's good. It's like you produce a blockbuster movie, but you screen it in front of an empty theater. And the worst part, we don't really realize it until we're halfway through, most often all the way through the campaign. And here's the thing. I call it the content illusion, where if we just create more stuff, surely something will work. But here's kind of like the reality. If you have more content and you have poor execution, the end game is just more wasted budget. And the thing is, many teams as of now, me and my team including, we are using AI to scale so fast, they're kind of missing out on the alignment and the focus of everything we do. It's super cool to be able to do cool things, but we really need to harness the power of it. And here's the reality, right? So more content does not equal better performance. Sometimes, sure, but in most cases, no. So what's actually the driver behind performance? If we say we know it's not the number of channels, the number of ads, the number of messages, but rather it's the combination of creative excellence, right? And a structured campaign workflow, meaning we have the unified taxonomy, we are tracking everything on a granular level, we're learning as we go in real time, and then we feed back that information into the campaign as we're optimizing it. And that's kind of like the thing that separates the busy teams from the effective ones, right? Because the effective ones understand they have this process in place and make it much easier to optimize the campaign. And to me, running a smooth media operation, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's how can I shorten the timeline from insight to action? Because the faster I can see and understand the timeline and get from insight to action, the more optimization that we'll do in real time, that's good. Which caters for, in the end, I'm hoping a better result. And this is not about the vanity metrics that looks good in the slide deck towards the board. It's more about understanding how to orchestrate the whole setup so you can actually scale real results. And I tend to use this metaphor a lot when I talk to clients and prospects about AI. And it's creativity is the spark, right? And that's why we love marketing and why we fell in love with from the first place. It's just the idea that's coming, you can get the feeling of now we're onto something. And that spark then lends itself well for the AI engine. But the AI engine is just it needs that spark to get going. And of course, if there's no spark, there's no movement. But here's the thing. If you think about it, if creativity is the spark and AI is the engine, you can spark all day and you can create, you can drop the thing in the latest AI engine. But if you don't have any orchestration, or in this case, direction, you're not going anywhere meaningful. So if you don't focus your efforts, you don't get faster to the right place. So the thing is, going someplace meaningful, that's the whole thing with the campaign, right? If you go fast and you miss the target, it doesn't really matter. So no matter how brilliant the creative is, without the delivery system that really, really expands it and makes it happen, it just stalls. So once again, without the direction, you're not going anywhere meaningful. Let that sink in for a while. We tend to go faster, 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 but it's the result we're looking for, not the actual speed. More on that later. So here's what we see all the time when we work with enterprise marketing teams. And we kind of do this ourselves as well, but you tend to plan your media campaigns in silos. And sometimes you have inconsistent or unclear KPIs, and teams kind of operate using different systems, calendars, tools, whatever. And in many cases, which is the weirdest part, the feedback loops are broken or sometimes non-existent. And I'm sure all of you have noticed that, the frustration, the vibes around that, which is just takes the fun out of it. But here's the thing. What we do nowadays is we take that chaos and then we add AI as a layer on top. And we expect AI to finish and make that into a clear, understandable product. But AI doesn't scale sort of dysfunction, right? Or sort of doesn't, I'm saying, it doesn't solve dysfunction, I mean. It just creates more noise, right? Because AI, like we said, it can't figure out how a human messy process and make that into something that's clear. That's just the way it is. And the most competitive marketers today, right, they have understood this. They can't just out-create, they need to out-operate as well. And they understand that a really good media operations strategy setup That's the one thing that can take that creative idea and make it to something that goes super viral. If you don't have the back end to it, it doesn't matter. So the real opportunity here is not just in the AI-generated content and campaign structures, right? It's understanding how you can have AI orchestrating your campaigns on a global level. That means they are sequenced the right way, they are context-aware, they're feedback-driven, and of course, they're brand consistent across everything. Because what that structure will give you is something meaningful for AI to scale, right? If you have that, everything makes sense for the AI, and you can do it better, faster, harder, smoother. And it also sets a clear governance structure for how you want your AI to learn your campaigns, your measurements, and whatnot. So I tend to see orchestration and campaign orchestration in general as the new co-pilot for creativity. Meaning if you can set the boundaries and really focus your efforts, creativity will do its work. And one of the things that many of the clients we're working with, we tend to understand that they're one of the most creative, many of them are most of the creative brands in the world, right? But they face a challenge that I think many of you know, which is they don't really speak the same language. And then I don't mean English or Dutch, right? They have marketeers over 50 markets that are super good at what they do, but if they're not talking the same language, and I'm talking about the language of campaigns, doesn't really matter. If they don't have a shared rule book on what's success in Japan, so you can compare it to success in Austria, it doesn't really matter at all. And in the workshops that we do, we tend to find out quite quickly that what they need is not another campaign. They don't need more creativity as well. But what they need is a smarter way to run their campaigns so that you can execute faster and with more precision. And the results they tend to get very fast is, of course, they say, hey, we can shorten the briefing cycle from 15 days to 5. That's perfect. But if you run several hundred campaigns a year, for sure. But the coolest thing was they quickly saw that the best marketeers we have got 10 more days to be creative, to be strategizing, and to think about the most important thing for that campaign rather than starting hunting for approvals or email chains that got lost. And that's just one thing, right? And let me be very clear as well. AI doesn't fix fragmentation, it magnifies it, right? Once again, it doesn't fix fragmentation, it just magnifies it. And if your data's messy, if your campaigns are unclean, if the structure's not there, it will scale that. But if you have a clean setup that's working for you, that's aligned and well orchestrated, it's the force multiplier. So coming back to that, if you have the structure first, then AI, it makes it work for you. And once again, it doesn't fix fragmentation, it just magnifies it. So what does that leave us then? Well, I think from my perspective, I'm trying to stop chasing the dream of the perfect content piece or the volume of it, and rather try to sort of design intelligent, well-orchestrated campaigns that really fits the whole campaign lifecycle. That means aligning your teams around your tools, around your taxonomies, and of course then add that to the timing of it, right? That gives AI something meaningful to scale, once again. And let me be crystal clear here. This is not about building a rigid, kind of soulless machine that tries to dictate creativity. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's about building a foundation of sort of operational excellence that has the creativity flourish around the campaigns. Because it's much more fun if you have a really solid playing field and then you put in the best idea in it. You can run the hell out of it. That's perfect. So I tend to see creativity as the script, the actors, and kind of like the vision, if you will. But then that's interesting. But if you don't have the lighting, the timing, the set structure, it's sort of just a rehearsal that no one saw. So you needed to put it out there. And so here's what I'm going to leave you with. The next time you kind of think about it, do I have you're obsessing over an ad headline or a video cut or something that makes you stressed, stop for a second and think about it. Do I really have the orchestration in place to make this matter? 2 seconds in. Do I really have the orchestration in place to make this matter? And if the answer is no, well, to be honest, you don't have an AI strategy yet. What you have is an AI lottery ticket. Because I think creativity will still get the clicks for sure. But combined with the right orchestration, you'll get the results you're looking for over time and make it scalable and useful. And I think the future belongs to the brands who can sort of orchestrate intelligence rather than just randomly kind of organize it and get it working for a single campaign. Thank you.
Does anyone in the crowd just have any questions at all for Johan? Oh, I can see a hand up. I'm going to come. Is the mic on? Do you have a question? Can you hear? Yeah, we're working. We're on.
Can I hear you?
Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah?
I hear you.
Yeah. All right. So just, thanks for sharing this. And the question is that, do you think, there's always some friction between creative and media, that continues. And I've been on both sides, actually, creative and media. So do you think, with AI intervening, is AI like the glue between creative and media? Do you feel like it's bridging the gap?
So that was, is AI bridging the gap between creative and media?
This is not on. It is. I think we're getting to a point where we actually start to understand it and see how we can bridge the gap. But for now, we do it in certain pieces of the campaign lifecycle. So that's what I'm hoping, that we will get sooner to that place where we understand a bit more. And then we can scale the real things out of it.
Oh,
shoot.
I think we've got, time for one more.
That's cool.
Hi there. You talked about orchestration a lot.
Yeah.
What is required to orchestrate?
I think you have to have the understanding of the measurement that makes sense to you. So having taxonomies in place, having all the KPIs ready, so you understand, so you can create repeatable success. So that, to me, is where you start. And then you have to have a system behind it that orchestrates it. You set it up one time. Come talk to me in the booth right here. We'll go. That's cool. Thanks, guys. Ciao, ciao.